Hi there. Going through a divorce is tough enough as it is. But if you're in a same-sex marriage in Illinois, you might be facing some extra challenges that most lawyers just don't talk about. I'm Laura Darby from Anderson, Boback, and Marshall. I've helped many couples like yours, and today I want to share 3 critical issues you need to watch out for, things that could really impact your future if you don't address them properly. Look, divorce is hard for everyone, but same-sex couples often face hurdles that others don't. My job as your advocate is to help you through this and to make sure your rights are protected every step of the way. Back in 2014, Illinois finally made same-sex marriage legal. That was a huge win. But here's the thing, many couples prior to 2014 were together for years or even decades before that. Some had civil unions, some just lived together. And that's where things get a little tricky. Even though the basic divorce process is the same for everyone, your history as a couple creates unique issues that we need to address. Let me walk you through the 3 big ones I see all the time. Here are the 3 big issues you need to know about if you're going through a same-sex divorce in Illinois. I've seen these trip up way too many couples, and I don't want that to happen to you. First up, let's talk about your kids. This gets complicated fast, especially if you had a child through a donor or a surrogate. Here's the problem. Even though Illinois law says both spouses in a same-sex marriage are legal parents, real life isn't that simple. If only one of you is the biological parent of your kids and the other hasn't officially adopted the child, you could be in for a fight. I've seen non-biological parents lose rights to children they've raised from birth simply because they didn't have the right paperwork. It's heartbreaking and it's very preventable. The courts do try to focus on what's best for the kids rather than just biology. But why risk it? If you haven't done a second parent adoption or gotten a parentage order, we need to address this right away. For unmarried couples, it's even trickier. You need to take extra steps, like a voluntary acknowledgement, to make sure both parents have legal rights. The second trap involves your property and money. Illinois divides marital property equitably, which it doesn't always mean 50-50. Here's where it gets unfair for many same-sex couples. Let's say you've been together for 20 years, but legally married for only 8. That's when marriage became legal. On paper, the court only recognizes those 8 years when dividing property or deciding on spousal support. Think about that. All of those assets that you built together during those first 12 years, the house you bought, the retirement account you contributed to, those might not be considered marital property in the eyes of the law. Some judges will consider your whole relationship, but they don't have to. This is where having an attorney who understands these unique challenges really matters. The third trap involves fertility treatments and embryos. Many same-sex couples use fertility clinics to build their families. But what happens to unused embryos if you split up? This gets messy fast. One partner might want to use the embryo someday, while the other doesn't. The court typically looks at any agreements you've signed with the fertility clinic first. If you don't have an agreement, judges use something called a balancing test, weighing one person's desire to have children against the other's. These are deeply personal, emotional decisions that suddenly become legal battles. Here's something many people don't realize. Even if you were just a donor, you still might be legally responsible for the child support if those embryos become children someday. This is definitely an area where you need someone in your corner who's dealt with these issues before. So, why would you choose Anderson, Boback, and Marshall to help you? Sure, any family law lawyer licensed in Illinois can handle a divorce, but that doesn't mean they understand the unique challenges same-sex couples face. That's like asking a general doctor to perform a specialized surgery. At Anderson, Boback, and Marshall, we've worked with many same-sex couples through their divorces. We've seen and addressed these issues firsthand successfully, and we know how to tackle them. We're not just getting you divorced. We're making sure you are protected for the next phase of your life, making sure your relationship with your kids is secure, making sure you get your fair share of what you've built together. making sure your future is protected. Practical steps that you can take. Look, I know this is a lot to take in. Divorce is an emotional enough time without having to worry about these extra hurdles. That's why having someone in your corner matters. We can help you with making sure that you have legal rights to your children, getting you your fair share of marital property, even if you were together before marriage was legal, resolving disputes over embryos or fertility issues, protecting your finances, and planning for your future. You don't have to figure this out alone. And honestly, you shouldn't try to. There's too much at stake. Thank you.